So I just saw Hobbs and Shaw and it was quite fun, although it is definitely not a good movie. In an effort to save a fiver, I streamed it, and all I can say is the occasional guy walking past the screen gave my senses a much needed break. As for the quality in relation to the other films in the Fast franchise, I'd say it's among the better half, but still way from the top. But having said that, this movie is nothing short of what I expected. It lacks in the places I thought it would and is sufficient where it promised to be. It's the sort of film that says nothing at all but really loudly. The plot is pretty simplistic. It follows The Rock and Jason Statham trying to keep some virus away from Idris Elba.
Bad guy.
It's not trying to be original, but just served to move the characters from one action set piece to the next, and as for what it's trying to accomplish, the writing and story is fine. There's a total runtime of 2 hours and 16 minutes, which a large portion of could have just been compressed or used more efficiently. Some particular sequences, like the one with the crazy chick from Baby Driver, weren't needed at all. I class the movie as an action comedy, and for what it's worth, some of the jokes genuinely work. However, most of them are washed out by an overwhelming amount of unwitty and drawn out dialogue which could have been spent developing characters. The movie tends to reach out to the masculinity of Hobbs and the pride of Shaw for humour, but it loses its appeal really early on and you just end up waiting for the characters to shut up and the story to move on. For the comedy to really work in this film, you'd need two actors who work well in improvised situations, and I think it's no coincidence whatsoever that the funniest moments came from two guest appearances played by actors who are great at improv. Ryan Reynolds and Kevin Hart make a funny appearance in this film, and they actually have some pretty sharp and entertaining dialogue, with jokes that actually catch you off guard, and the jokes aren't part of some dick measuring contest either. Some action sequences have moments of potential. The final chase in particular lives up to what you expect from the Fast films. There are some insane concepts at play. I mean, you've got The Rock holding onto a helicopter with one arm. When the film chooses to run with the nonsensical style of action, Hobbs and Shaw works and is pretty funny. The two-door sequence shown in the trailer is one of the best sequences of the film because they let the characters' personalities reflect through their fighting styles. If the movie did a lot more of this, having creative goofy sequences, then I think it could have been pretty great. There's also a lot of random montages that feel really weirdly forced. The opening is set to time in a bottle, which made it feel like the director had just watched Days of Future Past and gone, this would look good in my movie. Although some action is fun, we get a lot more conventional CG toppling buildings and motorcycles chasing trucks. It feels kind of impersonal, but we never really go to these movies looking for consequential action. Where the characters are concerned, the movie does go out of its way to try and give them a little bit of substance. I was surprised at the complexity they tried to put in, not that the characters are particularly well developed. There's still a one-dimensional set of tropes, but when they set aside a couple of lines of dialogue and give them actual development, it's a welcome change-up. The relationship between Statham's and Kirby's character had particular interest. A few moments of the characters reminiscing over the past was quite cool. Oh, and the Rock and the ladies' romance subplot felt completely pointless. The characters' personalities, particularly Kirby's, don't feel fleshed out enough to have a convincing romance, nor does this subplot contribute anything worthwhile. If it were reduced to just light flirting to serve as a break between purposeful dialogue, then it'd be fine. The main relationship between Hobbs and Shaw doesn't feel like it particularly changes by the end of the movie. I was expecting some form of camaraderie or understanding between the two blokes, but we didn't really get any moments where they both prove to each other that they're worth trusting. Some extra time taken up by these pointless sequences or dull banter could have been given to a scene like this. Having said that, a few new pathways have opened up due to this film, and its relative success at the box office opens up new franchises to invite spin-offs into the mix. Not that Hollywood doesn't have enough of them already. I'll probably watch the next movie just to kill off a few brain cells when it gets released. There seems to be a never-ending flow of these Fast movies. And overall, I'd say Hobbs and Shaw did a good job fulfilling its purpose. It's an easy-to-watch, dumb action movie that proves any spin-off can be successful on the silver screen. Something Sony has tried to prove for years. These characters are just charming enough to keep you watching, and the action is silly enough to make you laugh at it. And I think that's what these movies are made for. To laugh at, not with. And all I can say is if you like these Fast films, you will like this movie, and if you hate them, you will hate it. But I'm going to give Hobbs and Shaw a 40%.
What's wrong with you?